Everyone, this is Matt from Matt's Corvette Garage, and today we're going to change a headlight in a C4 Corvette. So come on along for the ride. So, couple things you'll need, okay? And so we're back, and here's my Corvette light right there, right? And it's a LED bulb or fixture, I guess you could say. All right, on my '89 Corvette. So there's a few things you need, and it's very simple. You're gonna need a Phillips screwdriver, as well as a T10 Torx, right? And I buy these from Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight, Harbor Freight's great because you can buy a lot of tools and they're fairly inexpensive, right? So, and if they break, who cares? You throw them away and get new ones. So, the light we're changing now. I already changed it, but I'm gonna do it again so I could show you how easy it really is. It didn't take long at all. You do not take out anything that's related to your adjustment on your Corvette, right? Especially on the headlights, because they're probably one of the hardest things to adjust after you've taken the light out and put in the new one, right? So I'm going to show you how to do it so you don't have to do that, okay? So I'm going to pause you here, put you back up on the stand so you can see what I'm doing, and then we'll get to it, all right? So here we go. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we're back here, and here's the headlight, okay? And so basically what you want to do, of course, you want to open the hood, right? It's kind of like a self-explanatory thing. So your headlight's here, and if you look at the headlight, of course, you have screws up top and no screws down below, but they're on the side, all right? So what you want to do first is come over this dial right here, and you want to, there's only one way you can turn it, okay? You're going to turn it to see this start moving down. So as you turn, you'll see it'll start moving. And just keep turning it. Don't like think that you're breaking it or anything. And see it's starting to turn down. So you just keep turning it until you expose those screws, right? And also what you're doing is, if you look on the back where the hood is, on the side you'll see two screws starting, and right there are, on my case, they're Phillips. So I changed them. They were probably Torx at one time when it was first built, but in my case here, there's a Torx here and a Phillips here because the Torx screw was missing. So I just put a regular Phillips screw in. I matched it up to the height, the same size as this Torx, and I put it here, and it's pretty secure, right? So, so basically for this, and one thing I would say is you want to have a magnet close by, just in case you drop a screw. It's easier to grab the magnet than it is and fish that screw out. I went out and I bought a long magnet with a light on it, and that actually worked really good. So, okay, and one other thing you want to have is one of these. This is a magnetic tray. That you can buy these at Harbor Freight as well, and these are actually about $1.99, and it's worth its weight in gold. A couple things to let you know about: some of these Torx on some of the motors are not magnetic, so they're made of like some sort of carbon fiber, maybe, or a plastic or something like that. So it's always, what you should do is take it out, stick it on here, and see if it sticks to this. If it does not, then what I recommend is getting a piece of like blue tape or any kind of tape like that, or packing tape and wrap it up and stick it on this. And then any screws that don't stick to this, you could stick in that tape. And believe it or not, I've lost, over the years, I've lost a ton of screws because they're not magnetic. Or excuse me, they're not metal. And, you know, you go to pick it up and it's like, where the heck did the screw go? Well, it's gone because it wasn't metal. And you wouldn't know that without, you know, actually sticking it right to the magnet, right? So I always tend to take a little piece of tape and I'll stick it in the corner over here. And any screws that come out that don't stick to the magnet, I just stick to that tape. Then this way they don't disappear. So back to this, you basically just take your Phillips screwdriver and you unscrew it, right? And what I always suggest you do is, see those two stuck to it, right? And then you also have your I have this Torx over here. So now, a couple things I will tell you. You got this bar here and the Torx is right there. You can actually adjust this down more if it's easier for you. Just don't push on it or anything like that. Just undo it a little bit and lower it so it's easier for you to access, right? So, see, stick the Torx in, and see, I'm hitting there now, so I'll go up a little bit. And once you get the Torx started, you can actually just unscrew it yourself, because the torque screws are have a somewhat of a head on them. So okay, and that just pulls out. Now see, that's a perfect example. This Torx is not metal, so it doesn't stick. Or it's an aluminum nut or bolt and it won't stick. So I'm gonna just pause you here for a minute. I'm gonna go get some tape, stick it in my magnetic tray, and I'll show you what I mean. Hold on. Okay, so here it is, a piece of tape, right? And I hold on to the screw and I stick this tape right in here and I push it down really well so it's just like that, right? And then I take this screw and I stick it right on the tape. And see that? There it is right there. So I know for a fact that's not going anywhere, right? I know it's not magnetic, so I don't want that falling out of the tray. So let's just say the tray falls. That will fall, but it'll fall in a controlled area so you'll be able to find it, right? So what I do is I take this and I just lay it there. It's funny because these tires are probably steel belted and the magnet's sticking to the tire. That's funny. But okay, so I got these two off. Now we have screws on this side, the back side, and I'll bring you around. Hold on one sec. Okay, so here's the other side of it, right? And the screws are right here. And these are Phillips. Now, one thing I found on mine was when I unscrewed this, there was actually a, what was it? There was a white retaining ring or thing on the back of it, which looked like it was added in, because as soon as I unscrewed it, it fell right off and I lost it. I have no idea where it went. So basically you come back inside and you can turn this so it go like the headlight starts going up like that. So then you can unscrew it. Now Couple things when you're unscrewing these, right? You got to loosen them up and just keep your fingers underneath. Like, use your right hand to turn it, and just make sure that this doesn't fall off, right? And then you just unscrew it like so. All right, and then you stick it in here, and they are magnetic. So, okay, hold on. Okay, and then there's another one right over here, and you just feel around for it. Again, it's Phillips. Oh. All right, and you stick this down here. It's magnetic. Okay, so the tray kind of falls right off. Now, in my case, the tray was all dirty, and what I did was, and it's kind of funny because you wouldn't think it would be that dirty, but it was filthy. You could hardly see the actual the color of it, because these are laying inside. So I mean, for them to be that dirty, they were pretty filthy, and this was all filthy. So what I did was, I always believe in, if you're going to when you take a part off something like this, I mean, granted, you want to clean it. I suggest it only because it's why not? Why not try to clean it prior to putting it back on, right? So, also, when I just took this tray off, there was a little bit of oil, a clear liquid oil in here. And what I'm going to have to do is look and see where that could possibly be coming from, and possibly fix that. But I don't see it here. I don't have anything. A little bit over here. It might be coming from here. This pump that you turn to get the headlight bezel off. So again, just when you take this off, put it to the side, and then turn around and clean it really good, and then put it back on, right? So you don't have to deal with it again. There was water spots on this a lot, which what I did was, I didn't want to buff it because I was concerned with cracking it. I mean, that would be really a hard thing to replace, right? These bezels, and especially in the color of your car. So I just kind of just polished it. That's it. So you set that aside, and in this case, I'll just stick it over here. And then what you have here next is here's your light, right? And there's this trim ring going all the way around the light. And if you've never changed out your lights before, you'll want to do a few things here, okay? I turn this up like this so you could see it. What you want to do is, you're going to want to get like a good lubricating oil. Not oil, like a spray. Similar to like WD-40 or some sort of spray that you could spray onto bolts, and use that same spray over and over and over again. I can't seem to see mine right now because I already did this, so it's virtually, I'm just doing it again for you guys so you can see exactly how to do it. But what I would suggest is you spray those screws up there, because when was the last time you replaced the light bulb? You know what I mean? Especially this. I had to spray them 3 times before I could even crack them. And they weren't hard to crack, but they took a while to figure out how to do it. You know, not to do it, but to crack the bolts. And they're little screws, tiny little screws. So this is where a magnet comes in very handy. So I'm going to pause you here for a minute, go get my magnet, because I don't want to lose the screws. Even though this area down here is open, if you drop a screw into here, it's kind of like the abyss. It just kind of disappears. So hold on, I'm going to go get my magnet, and I'll be right back. So this box right here is what these lights came in, right? And that's how it came, just like this. Now, of course, it was in a box. So what I do with this is I actually open it up, and especially in this compartment right here, and this is just a way of safety, making sure your screws don't fall down. And if they do fall, they fall right into this, right? So you just stuff this in here just like that. Can you see that? So if the screw falls, it falls right into that. Now, I also, being that these are so cheap, I usually buy like 5 or 6 of them when I'm building a car, just because it's nice to have them. And of course, they're magnetic like that, right? So I tend to use this tray. You can lay your parts in there as well as the magnet, and you just lay it under here like so, right? And then this way, when you undo the screws here and here, you actually, if they fall, they'll fall in the tray, right? And then you don't have to deal with trying to look for them. They really make a huge difference. So in this case, I mean, you could use a Phillips screwdriver and just unscrew these screws here. Or you can just take a screw gun that I have, undo the tip, and put in a screw tip, just like that. See that, Phillips? And just unscrew them. And what's cool about having a screw gun versus a screwdriver in this case, it breaks that bond against metal and metal, right? So basically what you're doing here, and I'm going to bring you down just to show you, is, let's go ahead and zoom in here for a minute. All right, so as you can see, and let's see, can you see that? You have screws on top, and they're attached to this ring, right here. There's one there, one there. And then as you go underneath, you're going to see, let me flip you around so I can make sure you're going to see that. Underneath, if you see underneath here, see the tab there? And there's a tab there. Those are the 2 screws underneath you're going to want to pull out, all right? That actually is the tab for the trim ring around the light. That screw here adjusts the camber of the light. Same with this one here. Don't touch them at all, because your headlights are set for from the factory, and if you don't have to touch them, don't. So you leave that one and this one alone, and you take these 2 bottom ones out as well as these 2 top ones. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to take those screws out, and I'm using my screw gun because it's easier, all right? And it'll take it off really quickly. Okay, as you come to the end here, you could do a couple things. Just hold your finger in there, or just pull it out just like that and drop it in there, and then do the other one. Pull it out, drop it in there. What's cool about getting a magnetic tip on your drill is this tip will actually end up being magnetic, and you'll be able to pull the screws out so they don't fall. Whereas a screwdriver, unless you magnetize it, which there is a way you can do that, which I won't show in this video, but you can magnetize all your screwdrivers so your tips never, your screw never falls off your screwdriver. So, all right, so I got the two top ones, and I'm taking off the bottom ones here. All right, so they're done. And now, this will actually pull away, just like that. And when you take the old one off, you'll have, this is what you'll see, right? You'll see this plug. Let me bring in again, hold on. So there's the plug, right? And when you go to take it off, I will tell you that that plug is somewhat of a pain in the neck to pull apart, right? And basically, you just take your time, don't lose your mind. Just take your time, loosen it up, and just pull it off, and then it pulls off. So, all right, and so you could see the plug right here, and it's just this is a male plug, this is a female plug, and you unplug it and you plug this in, and it has a cord, right? And then this goes into the actual bucket of the actual light. All right, and so there's a way of putting this light in so it's flipped correctly. All right, and as you can tell, if you look at the back of the light here, there's vents, and then the switch is here, or the tube is here, the electrical line going to the connector, right? So when you put this light back in, you're putting it in this way, so that cord is on top. All right, and if you look at the light, I don't know if you can see that. Let's see, can you see that right there? It says DOT, SAE, whatever the number is there. That's down. So this power cord is up, and that labeling is down towards the engine, or down towards the ground, right? So that's how you put it in to make sure that when your lights flip over, right, they flip over so you can see them. They flip over, and this is directional, this light, because the high beam is the whole light, and that's the lower part of the light. Let me flip you. So the light itself is directional. So the upper part of the light, there's 5 lights there. That is your low beam, and the rest of it is your high beam. So making sure that that's the correct way going in is very important. And that goes on any LED light. If it's just a regular bulb, you would change it the same exact way, except you would disconnect it and plug it in. I mean, it's very self-explanatory. But on a regular halogen headlight, you don't need to worry about direction, really. But the plug will warrant whatever direction you want on halogen. But on an LED, you definitely want a directional position for the actual light. So I'm going to flip you back around, and I'll show you how I put it all back together, and we plug it up, and we'll get done. Right? All right, hold on. Okay, so now I plugged it in. I have the power cord going to the top of the light. I don't touch any of the adjustment, nothing. I take this cord and I push it in, and then I take this trim ring and I place it over this. Now, this doesn't really fit that well, but it will fit, so just don't push it. Don't like mess it up, because if you break it, you got to order a new one, then you're without a light, right? So just take your time. This trim ring may be a little out of adjustment, so you just need to adjust it. You slide it in, and you slide everything back, and then basically you got to kind of pull it underneath, and then you put it back up in here, right? And it's a certain way it has to go. So in this case, it's upside down, this trim ring, so you just flip it upside the other way. And now when you come up here, it won't fit in right away first, so you kind of have to mess with it a little bit. And then it will fit right in, right? And you kind of just look around and see if they're making sure that you have everything, and of course, the trim ring's upside down. Again. Alright, and this is just trial and error. Okay, there we go. So when you put it in, your trim ring will fit right in those holes, right, where your screws were. So you just let it sit just like that. You take your screw gun, go back down here to these screws, right? You're using these to put the trim ring on. These are for the bezel, right? You take your screw gun and hold your screw and screw it right in. And you don't have to go like zzz, just screw it in, that's it. Don't go crazy. I suggest you do a top one and the diagonal bottom one. Alright. And you just stick it right through the hole. Right into there. Alright. And that's on there pretty well now. And then you just do the other bottom one. And then the top one. And in this case, this one, if any screw's going to fall, it's going to be that one. That top one. The top one. So that's it. So it's done, right? So that's done. So now you take your bezel. And the bezel actually covers the bottom of the actual light itself. And these two tabs, 1, 2, go on top. So you just basically have your tabs here, the holes right here. You can see that hole. You just take it and cover it, and it kind of slides into place just like so, right? And then you take a screw, and now in this case I had a metal screw and I had that tape screw. Remember the screw that was not magnetic? And so I'm going to take my metal screw first. And if I let this go, it'll just fall down. So you gotta take your magnetic screw. See how it just falls off? So you take this, you slide it up here. And I like going on the angle because now you have, instead of it being straight across and you drop the screw, it'll drop into your tray. But just come right here. Put it there. Take your non-magnetic screw and put it over here. Screw that in. And then you take your screw gun. See how that just hangs there? And you just hold it there. And it'll actually fit in. And you can actually, when you're screwing this in, you'll actually see up top, it looks like an indent on the actual tab. That's kind of where you want to stay. You want to keep it right about there. So this way it's even. It's kind of like your lines of your door, right? You have a high, if you have a high spot and a low spot, that's not right, and the door needs to be adjusted. Whereas this is the same way. If you screw it in a different area, your tray may hit the body, right, when it spins. So basically, you just kind of try to find where it was, and then screw it in. Again, don't tighten too much. And then you do the same. Now that side is the Torx, right? So in this case, I'm just going to use the Torx, and I'm going to come over here. Now, I do have Torx bits for my drill, but for this purpose, I'm just showing you how to do it. And basically, just hold on to it and screw it in. And when you get close, just look at it and see where that is. And in this case, it just needs to be lifted up a little bit, and you tighten it down. And it's not, you don't want to over tighten it and break it, right? Okay, so that's done. So now I'm just going to loosen this a little bit. And what I'm doing is I'm opening this up so I can screw in the back. All right, so I'm going to finish this up. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but that is how you change a light bulb on a C4 Corvette, or change it to LEDs. And again, if you would like to know where I got the LEDs, please comment. I would love you to subscribe and like this video. And I hope you have a great day. And thank you for watching Matt's Corvette Garage. Have a great day. Bye.